This month's four-way challenge is the Mortar and Pestle, a classic project tackled by some of my favorite YouTube turners, Richard Raffin, Thomas Love, Mike Peace, and Sam Angelo. Each one has their own approach. This is my take, using this beautiful piece of black walnut. First step is just getting this piece of walnut rough turned into a cylinder. Now that we have the cylinder ready, I'm keeping my eye on the base. I'm going to mark out the proper size tenon with a set of dividers. That's going to help make sure the chuck grips cleanly without leaving any unwanted marks on the foot. Also, I'm making the base a little bit larger than normal this time. I need to give this mortar a solid stance on the counter. It needs to feel sturdy when it's in use, not like it might tip or slide around. Now that the base is set, I can move on to shaping the exterior of the mortar. I'm going for a smooth, rounded form, something that feels comfortable in the hands, but still has a bit of elegance to it. The black walnut has such a rich tone, and as the shavings start flying off, the deep chocolate color really begins to show through. Before moving on, I like to spend a little bit of time on the bottom. I'd like to add a few details and subtle curves. It's a small touch, but it gives that handmade piece its personality. Even though most people are never going to see the bottom, I know it's there, and that makes all the difference. And now it's on to sanding. We're going to work through all the grits until that surface feels as smooth as glass. And now comes the fun part, hollowing out the bowl. For a mortar, wall thickness really matters. I'm keeping it thicker than I typically would for a decorative bowl. That extra mass adds stability and helps absorb impact when grinding herbs or spices. I'm also shaping the interior with a continuous, gentle curve, no sharp corners. That gives the pestle plenty of room to work and prevents ingredients from getting trapped. You want that smooth, flowing shape so everything moves easy under the pestle. And now that the shape feels right, it's time for a final sanding inside the bowl. After that, I'll apply a sanding paste to refine the surface even more. For the finish, I'm using carnauba wax. It's food safe, it's durable, and it really brings out the walnut's warmth and depth. Now it's the pestle's turn. I'm still using walnut, but this time I'm using an end-grain blank, so that way it has a little bit more strength. And I start by just roughing out the cylinder to get it ready for shaping. The trick with the pestle is getting it to feel comfortable in the hand while keeping enough weight on the business end to be able to do the work. Now it's time to shape the bottom curve of the pestle to perfectly match the bowl inside. It's really worth taking your time here. A good fit means smooth, efficient grinding and less wear on the wood over time. Once I'm happy with the fit, I can finish shaping the pestle, softening the transitions and making sure the proportions feel right with the mortar. When the shape feels just right, sand it through the grits, apply the same finish as earlier, sanding paste and carnauba wax. The two pieces should match beautifully, not just in color and texture, but in the way they feel when they're used together. And to finish it up, I'm going to carefully part off the pestle. You want to avoid adding too much pressure so the grain doesn't tear out at the end. A clean cut here makes the final sanding quick and easy. And here's the finished set. Simple, functional, timeless. The black walnut gives a warmth that you just can't get from stone or ceramic. It's smooth, comfortable, ready for years of use in the kitchen. Also, if you haven't watched the other versions of this month's challenge, I highly recommend checking out Richard Raffin, Thomas Love, Mike Peace, and Sam Angelo's takes. Each one brings a unique style and technique. Thanks very much for watching my version of the 4-Ways Challenge. If you've enjoyed this build, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see turn next. See you in the next one.